For those of you who don't know, I'm Nytemode, also known as Logo, but my online alias, Discord, all that good stuff, it's Nytemode. Today, in this day and age, I call it a solutions architect and a creative, just because I really enjoy, I don't know how, but I enjoy solving other people's problems, and I'm no good at it on my own. But whenever someone has a question, a problem, especially when it comes around like technical side of things, I love to step in and see what I can do or what problems I can solve with technology itself. As some of you guys know, I've helped out the effort of WhyDRS. My first big project was the database, which was making the complete front end and searchable inference from the database that we had already existing, which was the JSON file. Working to continue to implement that, like make it better resources, more up-to-date information. This was a passion project. Ever since I stumbled into the whole WhyDRS effort, I really saw it as a hive mind of being able to come together with a common passion and desire to figure out what the hell was going on in the stock market and stuff like that, because I am not a finance bro by any means, but in the last, 3 to 4 years, I've learned more about the stock market, self-ownership, DRS, all that kind of stuff tenfold, just because I have the resources of you guys, the community, questions, and of course, AI in this day and age. So this was my, I guess, first foray into like showing off like some of the stuff that could be done. And this was, we spoke about it on the podcast. I've been on the podcast once so far, maybe twice, once. This was built in 24 to 48 hours of just gathering all the information of what we wanted, how we wanted it to look, what the overall purpose of it was. And I'm just gonna do a little demo real quick. My favorite, and being able to find out instant information about the stock, like where you can get more information, where it's held, all that kind of stuff. Some of this stuff still has to be updated. We want kind of like a live, maybe like weekly updater of the database, trying to find out all this information, which is getting better and better over time. It's something that I spoke about on the podcast, that every day that goes by, some new technology, new piece, new breakthrough, new something happens, and it's only getting faster and more efficient. And for those of you who don't know, I've been in this GameStop game forever. So, that's me at the Halo Reach midnight release. I worked for GameStop for a few years, and since then I've worked in the video game industry. I've worked with Microsoft, Sony, Epic, I mean, you name it, I've probably worked with the company to some degree, to some capacity, with influencers and like all this other kind of stuff. I was in public relations, I was in marketing, I was in media, I was in all of it. And that's where like my passion really led me. And then I got to sitting in front of a computer for a very, very long time. So now I develop all this kind of cool stuff, mainly in my free time, but again, solving problems for stuff that I want to. So I've been foraying into Polymarket, I've been foraying into all the different language models. As you can see, you can actually kind of visually see when I really took off in terms of like commitments and like being, you know, all in. And I write about that in my profile too, which is, these are all my projects and things like that that I currently work on. But it all compounded when I found out that like I mentioned in the podcast, like we're at the kind of point where like if you want it, you can build it, or you can find the information to build it, or you can find the resources and stuff like that, or at this point you can kind of just ask and say like, hey, I want to build this, or like I want to do this. I've spoken to a lot of you guys about all this on the Discord, and being able to be like, hey, what if we did this? What would be cool? And things like that. And like all of it has actually come together, and I've spent billions of tokens. I've used almost every platform that's out there to date, but all because I find it very, very interesting, and the whole stock market side of it and stuff like that. Learning, starting from Reddit, finding the hive mind, finding the Discord, doing all that stuff, putting it all together, and actually making cool things from it has been a surreal experience. I wasn't really prepared for this, so I don't know exactly how to like continue to go into more of the stuff that I do, but I can tell you that I only want to do more. Just because it's fun. But I've built applications from a simple calorie tracker to an actual, I can show you, just because I thought it was interesting. Polyterm is my #1 starred, forked project or whatever, but it's basically Polymarket in your terminal. So someone said something about like a terminal application about something like recently, like tonight, and what I found was like browsing the Polymarket website is kind of like convoluted, or if you don't know what you're looking for and stuff like that. So I kind of got bored and made an entire terminal application where you can use all of Polymarket in your terminal. Go to certain menus, look at the live trackers, find out who the whale traders are and stuff like that. See the 24 to 48 hour bracket over 10,000 10,000 like threshold trades and things like that. And all of it is visible. You can export it as a JSON and use all that data to whatever you please. All open source, things like that. As well as Discord bots. All the stuff that I did for WhyDRS is all open source because I want people to be able to, you know, just like John was talking about, the more people who discover this, because like I didn't promote Polyterm at all, but it's my #1 star project. So people are actually like searching for Polymarket tools, other things like that. And I think that's what we have that's beautiful with WhyDRS and what we're doing there and all that kind of stuff. Just because like if someone decides to come along that they want to play with this, use it, fork it, do whatever they want with it, they can. And I encourage it. Like I really want to see more of that stuff kind of happen. And I don't know, it's just, it's getting more and more fun as time goes on because whatever we were withheld from or didn't know how to do, give me 48 to 72 hours so I can figure it out. And I think that's the best part about all of it. There are some people who are skeptical about AI and things like that, but I see it as a tool. I see it as an easel. I see it as a paintbrush that like you can absolutely try to figure out what you want to and then fail forward. Kind of like what John was talking about, like there's going to be other stuff that you can find out that like you do have to take the first step, figure it out, and then keep going from there. But I've got pretty good at it. So like I do enjoy being able to use all of the tools at my disposal and work on the next project and try to see how we can continue to maximize all the information that we have at our disposal to just get more people informed, to put it in more places, to build our own systems, to like realize that like whatever is not at in arm's reach, it can be. But yeah, that's me. I just like having fun on the computer. But if you guys have any questions about my work, like what I've done so far, what I like doing, I don't know if that's a hand.
Yes, it is. What AI model do you prefer to use?
In recent, Cloud Opus 4.6 is probably the most fun one to use, but the most technical, that's actually really damn good at coding in general, is probably ChatGPT's Codex. And those two models came out on the same day.
How do you use that to enhance your workflow?
Tenfold. But all of it, so like I have, where is it? It's not up here anymore. It's still open. So for example, Frey is the application that I was building, the Discord replacement. So Frey is the open source, Frey is a client that uses the Matrix, that connects to the Matrix protocol that Chaz and I spoke about, like, I don't know, 6 months ago at this point. And I was talking to a last resort friend about, you know, when we were at the Airbnb, that he saw me set it up in, I don't know, less than 10 minutes of like getting a VPS information and telling the AI to just be like, hey, listen, this is what we're trying to do, this is what we're using, this is the protocol, this is our objective. Set it up in 10 minutes, and I was able to start beginning to make a client that just connects right to it. I did get to a certain point. I don't have any of the images like ready, but I got to the sandbox client where I can send messages, I can delete messages, I can like do reactions, all that kind of stuff to get to like somewhat of a Discord relevancy. It just needs more fine tuning. But I found it that being able to ask questions and also ask for the answers, like how it was done. That's something that I never really like doing in schools, like showing my work. I make AI show me the work a lot of the times, just because I want to understand better. I'm not one to just set it and go. There's a lot of people who are like that in terms of like vibe coding, and we spoke about that on the podcast. But I do like asking follow-up questions and getting all of the detail that comes with it, because that helps me learn. I know it doesn't work because of that, or I know it does work because of that. So it's just been fun, and being able to like find out all of the information, being able to send PRs, code review, doing all that stuff, even solo, just maximizes everything. And I've learned more about GitHub, like you guys saw in my activity thing, I don't know, in the last year than I've ever known about GitHub before that. So, more questions?
So when it comes to open sourcing projects, it looks like you do that in general with a lot of your projects. What was your introduction to open source, and what do you think that mentality brings to innovation?
I think open source is such a beneficial tool because all of my life I've only used closed source applications, tools, software, all that kind of stuff. And there's been hella times where I'm just like, man, it'd be cool if it did this. And because the software is closed, because like you can only send in a ticket or post on a forum and say like, man, like if this gets enough updates like or upvotes, maybe the company will implement it. But now with open source, you can just take you can take my entire Polymarket tool and add a whole branch of information to it just because you want to. And I think that's cool, and I think that's when it comes to bringing it back to video games, and oh man, that was probably one of my most favorite parts of the podcast, where it's like when modders get a hold of stuff, that's when the game becomes like fun again. Because like you can beat a game, but then when you go back to it and find out that modders added all of this extra content to it, like well, you just gotta own the game for free, basically. So when it comes to open source and why, like I encourage it, I want people to do more of it and stuff like that. I've forked branches from other applications and things like that just because I wanted to talk to AI and see how I can add something to it. But I fully encourage it. I think everything should be open source, but I understand the business model and stuff behind it. But we are getting to a point, and I spoke to someone about this not even 2 or 3 days ago, where if you're paying 10 grand for some renowned application, you know, QuickBooks, like whatever it is, doctor's applications, medical, like whatever the situation is, you can literally go to AI and just be like, hey, I need to build an application that does these 2 things consistently, cancel that $10,000 subscription and pay $200. Like just to be able to do that. I mean, if you're not up for maintaining it yourself, that's a different story, but it's gotten to the point where like there's no more moat around almost anything at this point because you can build it yourself. And to me, that's the most fun, and you can share it with other people, and you can open source, and like if you do find something that people can put together themselves or communicate on top of it and do all that stuff together, man, you could probably get some interesting software of like people just being like, oh, I want to add this to it. Oh, this is so cool that I think we should build it out more. So even if I stop working on anything, someone else can just pick it up. So that's the beauty of open source.
Can we see your GitHub real quick?
Yes.
I just want to give a quick plug to Chives for sponsoring people.
It is.
No.
Thank you, Chives.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, so like, I mean, a lot of my stuff, even, so this is something that, I don't know why I didn't talk about this. So this is the GameStop dashboard that I built. So all of this contains live information about all of the stuff that's been happening the day-to-day. When the market is live, it tells you the stock price changes. You can switch to monthly, all the kind of stuff, and we know our infamous like volume spike that's here, all this information. There are pieces of information that are not here in terms of like the short interest data because that costs money, and then the X API, which they released a new model for, which is like by usage now, so that might be more affordable. But basically having some type of dashboard that has all of the information to your favorite stock, ticker, things like that. Obviously, I chose GameStop. But all of the news articles, the press releases, and then one of my favorite parts, the SEC filings, which updates live. So if there's a new filing, which we saw on the Discord and stuff like that, I was able to post all of the new ones as soon as they happened. And then they have links and everything to it. This is completely open source. So if somebody wanted to change this, manipulate this, or put it to whatever ticker that they wanted to, they would have to correctly source all of the information because this is all tied to GameStop. But this entire project is open source. So you can choose another ticker, plug it in, and it would do all the same things. And again, you could probably just plug in like to Cloud Code or Codex and be like, hey, make this a, I don't know, I was gonna say Blockbuster for some reason, a Blockbuster ticker or something, a Blockbuster dashboard, and it would do all of it. And everything is predetermined, pre-filled and stuff like that, so you get the same information, the same visual, same things like that.
Does it show max paint?
No, I don't think so. No, but I do have all the links to like WhyDRS and DRS GME and all that kind of stuff there too, just for relevance sake. But that was a very fun project. I did that, I don't know, a day or two or something like that, and I updated it recently because the news information is filtered, RSS feeds, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of primitive data that isn't working the same way, but you get the gist that whatever you kind of want, you can kind of build. And I just wanted one central hub that had all the GameStop information in one place. So I built it. Yeah. I'm trying to think of another project that I worked on. But,
The other question I had was, how can we utilize AI for WhyDRS for marketing, gaining more influence, especially on other platforms, so that we can start growing into, like, let's say TikTok, Instagram, things like that, Threads, things like that.
oh my God, those platforms are such a beast. It's just consistency in posting, but you can use it.
Well, how can we use AI to get that consistently? Because we are a smaller team.
Yes, so there are models and stuff out there that I haven't used completely myself, but there are new models out there that let you make UGC content or like predefined like schedules and sheets and things like that that help you cater to those audiences and finding the trending things. Usually it's like music or something like that that is trending and it could be used. But it's all a matter of like putting all of the information out there, defining your end goals, because that's a huge thing. People just send a prompt and that's it. But like you have to give enough information without overburdening the AI with like thinking too much in terms of like content of like what are your end goals, like what are you trying to do and what are your end goals, and like what do you consider the finish line. There are specific models like Codex is better for like coding, Cloud would be better for planning and that kind of stuff, because Cloud is based off of like books and like writings and teaching and personality and stuff like that. And then when it comes time to build it, you might switch to Codex or something like that. But for getting the cadence, the schedule, the tone, all of that kind of stuff, probably speaking to Cloud Code or Sonnet or something like that, to getting what you might be looking for in terms of a content schedule, getting the tone, getting like the right audiences, because it's very, very good at research as well. So like if we wanted to define the 1, 2, 3 places that we wanted to post, it would probably be through those methodologies. John, you have a question?
Not a trick question, but you know, how would you answer the question? Who owns an open source project?
I think there's an initial committer in terms of like the person who kind of came up with the idea, but even then, some of them are not original ideas. They just like, oh, I saw this concept somewhere and I just wrote the program for it, or like I used it or whatever I did to help the program for it. And then open source to me is just like whoever decides to take the reins and continue building on it. Like it's open for everyone. That's the beauty of open source. Is that like I think it belongs to everyone. Once it's been out there licensed and just free range at that point, I'm more than happy to take my hands off of anything to let them go. I did have that come up recently that a company wanted to use my Discord bot that I made, and they said, how can we add it to our GitHub or whatever? And I was like, well, I don't want it taken from me. How about I publish it to GitHub and I add you as a collaborator? And that's what we ended up doing. So. If you guys have any more questions, I'm on the Discord, I'm online. Please ask me anything. I love solving problems and doing this stuff for the sake of the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.